exactly what it
Classic
was.
non-answer. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. But we're here in Juggernaut LE, Grant, for our first game. And, let's just try and have some fun with this one. I think Serral by far and away favorite to win, but it should still be a good matchup. ArT's a great player.
And our first player, speaking of beautiful in the bottom left, he is the Finnish Phenom, the Night King, the absolute GOAT, representing Intense Esports. It is Serral.
Oof, Grant. It's
nasty.
already looking like Serral really wants to take advantage of this. And his opponent in the top right-hand side needs to send a scout out, lickety split, in the blue, representing Poland and Alpha X. It is ArT and Grant. He's not scouting. He's a little bit late on the scout.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He will see it eventually, but it's how he deals with it. Now, the good news for Serral is that this isn't all the way all in. You can, of course, macro out of this, so even if he is scouted, which it is looking very likely he will be, he is still going to have the hatchery coming down very shortly. Oh, this is cute. Just, actually decided to make more lings. Okay, now Serral's getting a little bit closer to being all ling, as we do go up to 8 lings. He is still going to get that hatchery down here on the low ground, and that has now been spotted. But there are 6 lings currently marching across the map, 3 in unison, 3 that the band leader would be mad at, and they're going to go and poke away at the front door here, and it's up to ArT to react accordingly. He's getting his Zealot, which is fantastic. His Cybercore is down as long as he completes the wall in time. This shouldn't be a big problem. In fact, the second pylon is very vulnerable, though. The wall isn't good.
Yeah, that's a very strange wall. I think to finish this wall off, ArT's going to have to leave so much surface area on that first gateway. Yeah. And even the cyber core is going to be able to be hit by 5-6 lings at least. Very wonky little wall here. I don't know if the initial pylon was misplaced or something.
Yeah, it's too far back.
Which is
forward.
Entirely possible because, again, and I know it seems for us casual players, we're like, who cares? But ArT playing with significant ping here, significant delays on his own server, which to these players is everything. Imagine if you were a piano player, but every note that you heard was a half second later than you played it. It would be unplayable. Yeah. And I know this is a huge problem, so it's not surprising that these players are just trying to get their inputs in so rapidly and making small mistakes like that. These links buying so much time, but not getting a lot of damage done, actually.
They forced a lot of pulls. That's the most frustrating thing here. They are going to pick off a pylon as well, even if this one boy doesn't get the job done, which he will. I mean, this is frustrating. Look at things like Cybercore hasn't started its warp gate research yet. There was a lot of lost mining time, which now means Serral is only a couple of workers down, soon to be further ahead. He's finally going to get cleaned up. He kills 2 workers for his trouble as well. This worked for Serral. Don't get me wrong. ArT did a decent job at defending. When all is said and done, he has now cleaned up. He's not dead. But it wasn't what he wanted it to be. By any means, he did have to pull a lot of workers for a long time to defend and then also to fight at one point. And Serral behind this will be throwing down his third hatchery very, very shortly, I imagine. And when that it's going over to the right, I believe. Yeah.
Yep, there it is, down the south side. By the way, did you see the cute maneuver Serral did at the beginning of the game? He hit a drone over
behind
here,
the mineral.
And then once the probe came in, then he moved it back in to get the natural down instead of having to take his third. Just what a freaking pro gamer move, man.
Yeah.
Twilight Council opener for ArT, which I'll be honest, I really like, Grant. You know, Stargate timings can be really good, but I feel like Stargate timings for Protoss players are so freaking specific. Like, you really have to know your gas numbers exactly. Whereas if you go Twilight Council, you've got a few additional options. You know, you can go for the Robo, you can cut the Observer, you got a couple extra options, and you can even go Dark Shrine and try and come back here. Yeah. So looking better for ArT than I think it could be, given the fact that Serral opened 12 pool.
Now, there'll be some people here who maybe haven't followed StarCraft's illustrious career, but there's a very popular saying in StarCraft, and it's when behind, Dark Shrine. When ahead, get more ahead, when behind, Dark Shrine. And the start of this game, although ArT wasn't necessarily miles behind, he certainly didn't get the best start he could hope for. So bugger it, put all your eggs in one basket and go for that Dark Shrine, and maybe Serral skips that corner. Maybe Serral's not looking with his 900 IQ at the one moment you pop in with a DT and you get 600 kills, or maybe Serral scouts it straight away.
Maybe Serral scouts it straight away, which just blows, man. That means Lair Tech starts maybe a little sooner than Serral would have otherwise liked. Kind of wanted to save that gas for some roaches, I think. Instead, going to go to Lair Tech. That'll allow him to get roach speed a little bit more quickly, but more importantly, of course, it's going to give him that mobile detection, the Overseers. We'll see Spore Crawlers coming down eventually, but he's in no rush. Those Spore Crawlers builds so damn quick. And the Dark Shrine, I think one of the slowest buildings in the entire game to build.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, without shadow of a doubt. And also the Prism has to get across the map. We are still a good 45 seconds away from any real action coming in, and that means Serral knows. I think a Spore takes about 20 seconds to build. I'm not certain. I play Protoss. But it's quick enough that even if you scout something, you don't have to immediately do it. You can get that little bit more value from your worker before they transform to their death. Serral now going to see the third timing as well, or when it's attempted to be taken, and he'll probably be feeling relatively happy with this. He sees the Prism. He's now got a good bunch of lings, and that means that this third base is going to go down and immediately get cancelled.
Man.
Shift queuing his buildings there means that it doesn't quite work out for him. He loses that 100 minerals when maybe he could have saved it. And he's lost control. Serral as well with his lair finishing is now going to start spewing gunk all over. Queens everywhere. Overseer warping in. Oh my god, this is gross. Okay, it lives.
And Grant, interesting, that was not a shift queue from ArT, by the way. That was he already had the probe there. That was a conscious choice to build that Nexus there. It just seems like ArT a little bit off his game, and I don't blame him. Playing Serral, wrong server, lag, ping, just everything going wrong for ArT today. And again, he's doing his best to keep up with Serral, but it's tough. Serral on 54 workers, 34 army supply, and with Roach speed on the way, I imagine we're going to see a huge flood of Roaches coming out from Serral for a nice push at about 7.5, 8 minutes or so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see some Queens marching as well. A little bit of Lambo in the game to get things going here. Roach speed is already halfway done. Evo chamber going down, so this is by no means going to be the be-all and end-all here for Serral. He's not set up a creep highway or anything, so maybe Queens will sit at home for a while. We do have another drop loaded up here for ArT. Looks like it's going to be intercepted, though, by Serral in the middle of the map. And just like that, I mean, this is an Archon drop, but already this Warp Prism is so low. And even the Observer's going to go down. That means no creep can be killed.
Oh, God.
Serral, don't. Just be nice. He's already dead.
That's a shame, man. I always say one of the best parts of and again, the third base looks like it may even get canceled here. Immortal's pulled out. He might be able to save it now since Serral's focus firing down the pylon to get some damage done. But just everything is so good. No warp-ins now. It's going to be forever before shield batteries can get up at the third base here. Serral just buying so much time. I was going to say one of my favorite parts about the Archon drop is that you can always move it in here, and at the edges of creep, since you've already got the robo down, you just build an observer and pick off creep tumors left and right to really slow down the third player. But losing that observer, rough for so many reasons now, and ArT, unfortunately, down to no observers, and really does not have the extra cycles to crank out more than about one here.
No, yeah, it's just frustrating, and Serral is going to play just filthy. Just disgusting. Burrowed Roach movement on the way. Was that just an instantly dead Archon?
Jiminy Christmas, that's tough. That's real rough, man.
Real rough.
ArT trying his best. Don't get us wrong. And again, this is absolutely not the best showing that ArT has ever done. Please, guys, go watch ArT play a match on his home server. Go watch him play a match in any of the Alpha X show matches that he does, because he genuinely is a much better player than he's showing right now. And I don't know what time it is in South Korea. I think it's probably 2 o'clock in the morning or something. It's got to be something like that.
2 o'clock. Yeah,
2 o'clock in the morning. On the ping, playing against one of the best Zergs in the world, if not the best Zerg in the world. And this is just going to be a rough showing. The Ravager Roach composition is going to be countered a little bit by these Immortals. And of course, the shield battery's up at the third base now. ArT buying himself a little bit of time. But the army supply, guys, tells more or less the whole story here. Even the army value in favor of Serral.
And we're going to talk about this a lot, because this is going to be an extraordinarily difficult game. But ArT qualified for this event from South Korea, playing on EU servers from South Korea. He has done phenomenal to get to this stage. And everything he can do from now is just gravy, I think, as he is studying full-time. He's not a full-time player, like Serral is, for example. And Serral now moving into multiple bases at once with a good chunk of Roaches, pressing at the front as well here, and winning that fight. Immortals begin to fall 1, 2, and 3, and just like that, GG. Serral picks up map 1.
Yeah, that's real rough, Grant. A tough sort of sweep, really. We haven't seen one of those yet today. No. Sometimes in DreamHack EU, because we have 32 players, the skill gap between the top players and like the 32nd player in EU is pretty significant, actually. Yeah. And I think what we just saw there was just a bit of a skill gap, and again, a couple of extraneous circumstances. I know we sound a bit like a broken record here, but ArT, my former teammate on Alpha X, I love him. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever worked with. Love him, and genuinely, guys, a very, very talented player.
Yeah. There's going to be people in chat like, meh, Bronze League, meh. ArT is incredible. He's got some great builds. He's really good. But you try playing Serral with 250 to 300 ping and see what happens. It doesn't go well. I played Serral once in the Basement of Home Story Cup, and he killed me in about 3.5 minutes. So
I was about to ask how long you lasted.
Yeah, no, he 12 pulled me, and I didn't do as well as ArT. I'll tell you that. I did talk a lot of trash though, like a lot, like extreme amounts of trash. Like
had a few beers in you, I assume.
I mean, it's a home story cup. Right? Yeah,
don't lie to me.
yeah.
By the way, Grant, I just messaged ArT to ask him what his ping was to EU. What do you think his ping is to EU right now?
275 probably.
You're darn close. 250 ping, which is that's insane.
Yeah.
250 ping is a quarter of a second, which again
everything you do
doesn't seem like much, but goodness gracious, just debilitating. Poor ArT. Bless his heart. But as you said, he qualified through the qualifiers, winning a bunch of games from Korea on the EU server. An absolutely monstrous performance from him. So he certainly earned his spot here. And even though he's going to lose to Serral, don't forget, guys, ArT is 0-2 right now, but he has faced some very difficult opponents.
Yeah.
Starting out by facing Hellraiser,
who's great,
and then who's on a freaking tear right now, and then Lambo before this. So really, he's gone through sort of the ringer, hitting some of the most difficult opponents right at the beginning of the the series.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Once I find your camera, there we go. Our first player in the bottom left-hand side here of Oxide, a very standard map. He is the Red Zerg player from from South Korea, from Finland, representing ENCE. It is Serral.
I've seen Serral in South Korea, but he's not actually from there. That's true. Yeah, he came to GSL versus the World 2019.
Yeah, I don't know if you're aware, but he won.
Yeah, it was a good time. That was when Lambo made his insane run. Wasn't the grand final Serral versus Lambo?
A laser.
Oh, he laser, not Lambo. Yeah, he laser. Made a sick run.
Yeah.
So good. It was a shame because I wanted to hang out with the laser, but he was like, nah, I gotta grand finals, guys. I gotta take it seriously.
Yeah.
Top right-hand side in the blue from Alpha X. He is our Polish player, again, playing cross-server, fighting the ping, and of course, fighting one of the best players in the world. He is ArT.
He is.
Oh, Grant, we're biased. We're biased as fuck because we're saying that that ArT has ping. That makes us biased casters.
We're not at all biased. Like, I don't know. You're dumb.
I don't know how I can be. What am I biased against? The internet infrastructure of the world.
Yeah,
how electrons work.
Bias?
I'm biased against physics.
Yeah, we're biased against time. The passing of time being
the fourth dimension itself.
Yeah, we're biased against that. No, guys, we love both these players. I've spent a lot of time talking to ArT online. I've spent a lot of time in person with Serral. I love them both. I'd love this to go to a map 3 more than anything. I'd love to see ArT on his best day versus Serral on his worst, so we had a closer series. But of course, we're going to have some mismatches, and we want to give every player that plays the credit they deserve, because they are here and you are watching them get paid. So
that's right. That's right. I love Twitch chat, bless their hearts, but it reminds me very much of my father sitting on the couch at home yelling at like NFL quarterbacks, like, I could have made that throw. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. My dad with his giant beer gut and like 3 beers in his hand. Come on, man. Show a little respect for how hard show a little respect for how hard these guys work.
Yeah.
And speaking of respect, look at this build from ArT, man. I think ArT's realizing, okay, I can't go for what I wanted to last game. Gonna open Robo here in game number 1. Now that's a bold choice. Probably the least common of the tier 2 Protoss building openers.
Yeah, most definitely. Stargate or Twilight, of course. Even Twilight has fallen off a little bit. If it's Twilight these days, it's more often DTs than it is Glaive Adepts. We don't see a lot of Glaives, unfortunately, because I love the build. But this is going to be a Robo opening, so it is going to be something a little bit interesting here. We'll see what comes out of this. Could be very quick. I'd love to see like a Colossus drop, just something mad. I'm, of course, not at all sure what he's going to go for. Probably an Observer first here to get information. Prism straight away. That's so quick. This could catch Serral off guard, certainly the potential, but this is only coming off of 1 gate, soon to be 2, so it's not going to be a huge amount of damage. Imagine a couple of Adepts dropped in the main, something along those lines.
Grant.
Oh, it's a Colossus drop.
Grant, it's full NA. North America DreamHack doesn't start for a couple more days, but we're getting a preview right now. ArT going for one of my favorite North America builds. Now, this is a build that Nina particularly makes very, very
so
scary when she pulls it off. She is terrifying. I mean, she's terrifying in a lot of stuff, but she's terrifying at Colossus drops. And Serral's going to see the Warp Prism very early, though, and that's a pretty rough tell there, Grant. Pretty rough tell that there's something wacky coming down. He's going to send the Overlord in, and oh my god, if the Warp Prism doesn't help that Stalker out, okay, he is. He's going to grab it, but I think Serral at this point probably has a good idea what may be coming his way. Yeah,
he certainly knows that Prism isn't just for killing one Overlord, right? You can make an Observer to do that, or you could hallucinate a Phoenix. So now we see it's Disruptor drops. Okay, this is even cooler. We're going to see that Overlord speed, that Warp Prism speed coming in as well, Graviton, whatever it's called. And that means this is going to be a little bit tricky. Serral is getting a bunch of roaches and roach speed on the field. But if he makes a mistake here, you can take a lot of damage. There's also always the threat of these Adepts shading into the main, the natural, or the third, and picking off a couple of workers. Observer as well means that they're going to be able to get some creep tumors and just push Serral back. Behind this, ArT will probably look to take his third base. He's throwing that down as we speak. Serral going in for a deep scout now, does see what he's playing against. And will now be able to prepare against it. But the way to prepare against this is to just not die.
Absolutely. And you know, this is something that Serral's going to be very, very well rehearsed against. One big thing that makes the difference, I think, between a good Zerg player and an absolutely top-tier Zerg player is map awareness. It's not just the creep spread, but it's also paying attention to everything that's going on the map. And Serral is not anyone. He's not a player who misses anything, Grant. I mean, he has got just incredible map awareness. He's like, you know how chameleons can point one eye at like their prey and one eye somewhere else? I feel like Serral can point one of his eyes at the mini-map and one of his eyes at the rest of the screen. He's just not going to get surprised by this at all. Yeah, he loses a queen, but that's not enough damage for this Disruptor drop to pay off.
No, now the Disruptor drop continues to have some value here, of course, as the Disruptor is alive, as is the Prism, and it's going to continue looking for positions. But Serral has a lot of Overlord spread as well, so we can see where this is coming, and Serral's quick enough to react in time. We now see him coming into the main. There's already units moving in position to intercept, and nothing will happen as the queens are there. And now we're starting to lose value because the Spire is close to completing. Serral has enough for 5 Mutas, as he calls them, soon to be 6. And I honestly don't think there's much prep for this. Now, Blink is done. Or Blink is on the way even, I apologize. Halfway done is what I'm looking to say here. And that's nice for dealing with the Mutas. If we are going to see some Mutas this game, which I do think we will, as these Overlords pop. There they are, the Mutas, the Mutmuts coming out onto the field. But ArT needs to identify this. He has to be ready, because if you're out on the map or something, you lose a mineral line.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're out on the map and you don't pull your drones, which is you gotta lose both of those battles at the same time. But already, Spore Crawler in position. Disruptor's gonna get down. Not quite enough roaches to engage here. Really smart by Serral to disengage from that. Disruptor ball goes forward here, but picked up just in time. ArT's gonna be forced to recall out and doesn't get anything. Grant, the total kills for those Disruptors are what?
One queen?
One queen. And sure, Serral's only on 3 bases, but his infrastructure is incredible. He might be a small country, but he's got good infrastructure like Switzerland. He's got the Baneling Nest finished up, Grant. Yeah. He's got +1 missile attacks on the way. The Mutas are out, but he's not over making Mutas.
Nope.
He's got plenty for harassment, but still plenty back home to go for flyer attacks, go for Baneling speed, and the 4th base on the way. Just doing a little bit of everything to stay alive.
Yep, and Serral has hit that stage now where he's going to be making a lot of Overlords because he's making a lot of units. He's stopped droning at about 66 and hasn't made a drone for a while now. More Mutas coming in, now going up closer to 10. Lings, Roaches for Lings for Banelings, Roaches for Frontline, and for that extra DPS, Ravagers coming in. We're going to see Ling, Muta, Bane, Ravager, Roach, all hitting the 3rd, or in between the natural and the 3rd of ArT in about a minute. And I'm very, very scared for our Polish player right now because he doesn't have a lot of answers. He doesn't have Zealot Charge. He doesn't have that much supply on the field in terms of army. He needs to get some wins. Catching a couple of Mutmuts nice and early would be nice. But, I mean, they're just so good at moving around the map here. And Serral, he's not going to throw them away unnecessarily, I doubt.
Yeah, you know, this is really interesting. It's one of those weird crossover episodes where Protoss and Zerg have like similar units with exactly the same skills. So ArT's going to be able to defend against those Mutas, I feel like, a little bit better because he's so used to playing with Phoenix play. It's one of the reasons Roddy's so good at Mutas, because he sort of understands what the patterns are like, sort of what sort of what the movements are like and how to dodge it on them correctly. So I love that ArT will be ready for these mutas, and the Mutalisks honestly haven't gotten much done yet.
No.
But Serral is not the kind of player who's going to give up with those mutas. We can already see him sending the mutas up to the third base while his main army starts working on crashing into the natural. Dangerous, dangerous.
Yeah, now the disruptors are capable of magic. We've said this many times here on any cast we do together. There's only a couple of units in the Protoss army that can completely reverse the scenario, and a disruptor against that ground army is definitely one of them. Serral is so good at darting in and out. There's a couple of players I've seen that are so good with Mutalisks, and he is one of them. It was previously a big weakness of his, but he's really, really improved. Like, did he lose a muta during that? No.
No, not a single one. Not a single one. Absolutely wild, Grant. And now, as we said earlier, the infrastructure for Serral is starting to pay off. While his army didn't look impressive earlier, now he's going to be up to 35 banelings once these are finished. He's got +2 flyer attack, +1 melee for those banelings as well, and the infestation pit coming in. Serral is developing all the tools in his bag to defend against this. That said, however, ArT is doing the same thing. Look at the upgrades here for ArT. Storm, Blink, +1, Charge. He's got the disruptors to zone out and get mass damage done. He's got the I've been talking about him all week. He's got those immortals in the background. If they can stay alive, they're going to be great. It's just going to come down to the fight, but I think Serral, again, is going to have a significant advantage.
Yeah, ArT managing to catch a couple of mutas there. He did kill 2. And really softened up a few of them, meaning that the dive here is a little bit riskier. But look at Serral's massive army in the middle of the map right now. He's at 122 army supply and maxed. He's getting his hive. I don't even know if Serral's going to wait for upgrades here. I'm pretty sure he's going to bloody go. He's going to split his banelings off, some to the north, some to the south. Baneling's going to hit up at the north, and now we're going to see the 4th base be besieged by the main army. Nice Sim City here. The producing units. Oh, a nice force field too, meaning that actually very few died. This was a great defense here from ArT. But he has to continue to deal with what is coming his way.
What a hold from ArT there, giving out a gateway and maybe a couple of adepts there to save it. Nice force fields, but the problem is that Serral's army is still very, very scary. Again, great force fields from ArT here. Unfortunately, the storm's not quite what he needed on the south flank there, and the north flank of banelings is going to be able to get all the way in here. Finally, Serral finds the baneling trades that he needs and takes down most of the high-value units here. If you look at that battle report, you'll see that ArT lost an awful lot that game. 3 Archons, rather, and Immortal, and 4 sentries, the gas units going way down. I love the Zealot run by, though. Keeping ArT in this game for just a little bit longer.
Yeah, ArT's doing a good job, despite the fact that he is playing with ping, as we said apparently a million times. He's doing a very good job, but the supply is telling the whole story. And I know we got Todd over on the mainstream, so I don't get to make any jokes today. The Dark Shrine finishing up here for ArT is you know, going to be a struggle here. It's going to be difficult to find a lot of damage. With that, may just be used to make lower cost High Templars and Archons and to get those units out as quick as possible. But now the Baneling count is absolutely phenomenal. There are 35 on the field with another 23. There's an Ultralisk Cavern behind. The Banelings find what they need to find, and just like that, ArT does not go out with a bang, but rather with a whimper. Oh, nice splits from Yuna there. This base will fall. There's still so many Banelings in the back crate, and this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if you noticed there, ArT actually had his disruptors loaded into the Warp Prism, hoping for a disruptor drop, which means he wasn't able to save any of his High Templar there. So he's got no Templar. He's got 1 Templar on the field, but no Storms available. And, oh man, Unit's going to go straight to the mineral line with these Banes. I don't know if I like that. I'd like to see him get the army down and just finish off the game. But either way, I think he's in fairly decent shape. Again, nice little run-bys here from our boy ArT, keeping himself in the game with that Dark Shrine that he made so many years ago. But it looks like there should be an Overseer on the way, and this DT will not be able to clear out that base. Serral's still in fantastic position. The income graph has been in his favor for 7 minutes now. Yeah,
I mean, he's going to make a few more drones as well. His upgrades are kick-ass across the board. He's doing a great job. He's getting chitinous plating so he can move into Ultralisks, should that be appropriate. Because guess what he's done is he's killed almost all the Immortals. There's only 1 on the field, and Immortals are the only really good unit here against the Ultralisks. There's a good amount of Stalkers left, and they can blink around and be frustrating. Prism is dead. Does manage to unload before it dies, but that's another unit that has to be replaced. And this is all going to be a little bit too much. Oh, how?
Damn. Somebody please put that first one, but not that second one. The actual disruptor shot, finally, first good one of the game, and a good storm behind that as well. I just don't think it's quite enough. 1 or 2 little victories, not enough to win ArT the war, and Serral finally able to establish an aggressive presence at the third, and that's going to be enough. GG.